Elon Musk is betting big on electric cars being the future. But Toyota just dropped a bombshell that might shake things up. They've revealed a new engine that could spell the end of electric vehicles as we know them. An engine that supposedly runs on water. Yep, you heard that right, water. This bold claim seems to throw a wrench in Elon Musk's electric dreams. But can a car really zoom around using just water, without any fuel or electricity? And could Toyota's water engine truly wipe out the electric vehicle market? Stick with us as we dive into the latest breakthroughs in car tech and uncover everything about Toyota's game-changing water engine. Before we get started, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on the coolest tech updates. The bottom line, I simply want to make every better car, no matter what kind of pattern they have. Toyota is shaking up the car world with a wild new idea, a car that runs on water. Picture this. Through a super smart process called electrolysis, this incredible vehicle splits water into hydrogen and oxygen, then uses the hydrogen to power its engine. Sure, electric cars have been the eco-friendly champs for a while, loved for their zero emissions and ability to charge up with renewable energy. But Toyota's water-powered car brings something totally new to the table. Unlike electric cars that need batteries plugged into the grid, this one runs on water, something we've got plenty of. The electrolysis trick can even be powered by stuff like solar or wind energy, making it super sustainable. Plus, while electric car batteries can be tough on the environment to make and toss out, Toyota's water-powered ride skips that problem entirely. According to Toyota's big boss, Hideki Nakajima, who's the executive vice president and tech wizard, this is the future of travel. He spilled the beans at a recent event in Japan, saying Toyota isn't just about cars anymore. They want to be a mobility company that gives people tons of cool ways to get around. Hideki wasn't alone on stage. He teamed up with Takahiro Kato, the guy leading Toyota's electric car crew, and Matsumoto Yamagata, who's heading up the hydrogen car squad. As their new factory gets ready to roll, Toyota's already got hydrogen fuel cell cars in the works, which mix hydrogen from onboard tanks with oxygen from the air to create electricity that powers the ride. At the heart of Toyota's water-powered car is a cool gadget called an electrolyzer. This little genius makes the magic happen by turning water into hydrogen super efficiently and safely. It doesn't need a ton of energy, and the best part, it doesn't spit out any nasty stuff, just clean water vapor. Unlike other hydrogen-powered rides, this car doesn't need a big clunky tank to hold the hydrogen. The electrolyzer whips it up right when the car needs it, keeping things light and zippy. To make this work, though, the car's engine needs a bit of a makeover. The fuel injectors, those tiny sprayers that feed fuel into the engine, have to be tweaked to handle hydrogen instead. The engine block and cylinder head need to be beefed up too, since hydrogen burns with some serious pressure. Even the valves and spark plugs get a special upgrade to keep everything running smoothly and safely. We'll dig into the nitty-gritty details of how it all works later. But here's the big win. Toyota's water engine beats other hydrogen motors hands down. Why? Because storing water is a breeze compared to storing hydrogen. Hydrogen's a gas, so it needs heavy, pricey tanks that can handle high pressure, and those can leak, which isn't exactly safe. Water, on the other hand, is a liquid. It's easy to store, doesn't need fancy tanks, and won't cause any headaches. That makes this water engine perfect for everything from tiny cars to giant trucks, even power plants. Its simplicity and safety give it an edge over other engines. Plus, it helps us ditch fossil fuels and cut down on harmful pollution. That's a huge step toward a cleaner, greener future for transportation and energy. But here's a fun twist. Toyota didn't dream this up out of nowhere. Believe it or not, the idea of water-powered vehicles has been around for a while. Before Toyota jumped in, others tried to make cars run on H2O2. Turns out, this wild idea has some history. Get ready to have your mind blown by some wild claims about water-powered cars. Back in 2008, a Japanese company called Genesis Facts grabbed headlines when they said they'd built a car that ditched gasoline and diesel for plain old water. Talk about a game changer. Cheaper fuel and a happier planet. They claimed their car used a clever system to split water into hydrogen and oxygen, then burned the hydrogen to zoom around. But here's the catch. Experts dug into it and found out the car wasn't just running on water. It needed a special ingredient called metal hydride to work. So not quite the water-only wonder they promised. Genesis facts, led by Genpact, never showed hard proof, and scientists weren't buying it. They pointed out that water's super stable. Splitting it into hydrogen and oxygen takes a ton of energy. According to physics, you can't just pull energy out of water for free. It's like trying to squeeze juice from a rock. This wasn't the first time someone tried to sell this dream. In the 1980s, a guy named Stanley Meyer swore he'd made a dune buggy that ran on water. Sounds cool, right? But he never proved it. And in 1996, he got busted for fraud. Genpact's story started sounding a lot like Meyer's, and people raised their eyebrows. Then in 2002, a company called Hydrogen Technology Applications claimed their gadget, the Aquagen, could split water to power cars. They started with welding, but soon said it could run vehicles. Scientists not impressed. The company later admitted it only made cars more fuel efficient, not water-powered. That same year, Genesis World Energy popped up, promising a device that could tap energy from water. They convinced investors to pour in cash. But guess what? No car ever showed up. In 2006, their boss Patrick Kelly landed in jail for fraud. In 2008, the same year Genpact was making waves, a guy from Sri Lanka named Tushar Riale, a singer, burst onto the scene claiming he'd driven a car 190 miles using just 3 liters of water. That's wild, right? Even Sri Lanka's prime minister backed him up. But the excitement didn't last. Tushar got arrested for fraud, and his story turned out to be another overhyped fib. Fast forward to 2022, and an Indonesian man named Ariano Mikul said he'd invented a gadget called the Nakba that could turn water into hydrogen fuel. He bragged it could power motorcycles for 500 kilometers on just 1 liter of water, and even claimed big names like Lamborghini and Ferrari were knocking on his door. Scientists in Indonesia weren't having it, though. They said it defied the laws of physics. Plus, those fancy car companies? Not actually interested. Ariano's tale started sounding like another big promise, with no proof. With all these flops and frauds, it makes you wonder, has someone been trying to hush up water-powered cars on purpose? We can't prove there's a grand conspiracy, but there are some juicy reasons why it might happen. For starters, the fossil fuel industry is a trillion-dollar giant. A water-powered car could flip their world upside down, and these big players have the cash and clout to squash anything that threatens their profits.